Hello and welcome back to the Hellcase Cup 8. We're going into our second map of a best of 3. It's going to be ESPADA on the CT side to start after winning the 9th round and after having a fantastic first map. We're going to get to witness whether they can continue this on. And it's going to be the lead through onto the A side. A bit of an interesting setup here from the CT side of ESPADA. They've got a kit this time, you'll be happy to know, Alex. And we'll see if it's going to be put to use.
I've got to hope so. NaToSaphiX got some flashes as well, which will kick off this retake attempt. There comes the flashes, and here comes the push. ESPADA getting some early kills, getting all the early kills in this one. Oh no, it's gone terribly for HAVU, just not winning a single fight so far. And Saw's trying to flank, but NaToSaphiX is ready for him. He can go down and defuse the bomb, or someone else can, because they've got plenty of time on the ESPADA side of things. It is a clean sweep on the pistol.
Yeah, unusual to see a 5v5 after planting the T side, not getting a single kill in return. We'll see if they're actually going to force off the back of this, because normally the thing that's really beneficial is obviously you get a little bit of extra cash for planting the bomb, the individual who does it, but also you get extra cash for kills. So the fact that they didn't get any kills means that it's not so much AKs and Galeals, it's, well, a scout, a MAC-10, a Galil, no AKs and some pistols. It's definitely not as pretty as we would like. And speaking of pretty things, we got an XM. This is the prime map to do it, but it's actually a vent dive. Pretty much the whole team. I think at least 3 people have just gone down the vents. Patsy's actually going to be the first to fall, and Dima maybe a little bit overly aggressive here. Is he burst firing?
Yes, and I don't know why.
What a wrong-un.
Oh.
But somehow he's still getting the kills. There we go. Eventually runs out of bullets and ends up in a 2v2. Make that just 1 as Doto hits the headshot. I've not seen someone burst fire a FAMAS in maybe even Counter-Strike Go. Like, it just doesn't happen. Doto might be about to get caught, though. This XM's pretty damn powerful. The problem is, at this sort of range, he should be screwed. Looking like NaToSaphiX just going to try and bait him in, knowing where this gun is valuable, but he can't quite make it work. An important break back for HAVU to get off to a strong start. And I do have to question maybe some of the decisions that were made there for ESPADA. Nonetheless, I wouldn't be overly surprised to see them force this one.
Yeah, their losing bonus isn't big enough to be able to just save and get a buy, so the option will probably be forcing. Maybe degster will save a bit of extra money to try and get that AWP out, but no, he fully invests. It's a full force buy for ESPADA. I think the biggest issue there, though, is just letting HAVU down the vents so easily on this sort of round. That's basically the only way that you can get really uncomfortable right from the start of the round. You have to have some presence there. You have to have at least 1 or 2 kills before allowing HAVU down the vents, and you should just be able to spray through with your superior weaponry, but ESPADA are unable to stop that from happening, and that means that HAVU have got a good opportunity to get some T rounds early in the half. degster holding yard with a Deg. Not the ideal weapon for the circumstances, but unable to get anything better in this round, and elsewhere ZOREE's opened things up with a MAC-10. So it looks like the Finns should have a pretty decent time of things in this round. ZOREE can even go down the vents if he so desires, but the rest of HAVU will be following up. And now Patsi is about to go over the top of the smoke, but they've all snuck down the vents. Oh, and Patsi isn't aware of it. At least he doesn't seem aware of it. I feel like ESPADA must know, and now Dima just goes down into his death. Not the best start here for ESPADA.
A little bit too close for comfort. Patsi, okay. I feel like he should have got the kill. Nice shot with the USP, but nonetheless, this will be the bomb going elsewhere. FinigaN shouldn't really be able to get anything done here with the scout, and Hoodie doesn't actually need to fight him, so may just be worth saving that extra weaponry into the next round. I don't really see a way that they come back out of this on top, and even Patsi just probing just doesn't seem worth it. Just going to hand some kills away, and, well, if anything, this has just become a farming simulator for the side of HAVU, making that extra cash, getting themselves a second round, and more importantly, the next they will face will be an eco.
FinigaN's scout sitting back in spawn. They're all running his way. Oh, okay. Saw just instantly removes his head from his shoulders. Great shot from Saw. And we get a replay of the early kill from ZOREE. Just a small gap in the smoke, which he's able to exploit. And then again, it's the same issue for ESPADA, where they just let HAVU down the vents way too easily. If that's going to be a consistent theme throughout this half, that's going to be really frustrating for ESPADA to deal with. They've got to find a way of not allowing that vent dive to happen so soon, because if you allow the Ts to get down vents early in the round, it makes you so uncomfortable on your CT side. You instantly have to start rotating. You instantly have to start to be aware of the B side of the map. Then HAVU could just go for yard smokes and could join that man towards B, and it just makes your rotations really uncomfortable in general. And it looks like ESPADA have got a Zeus out. Ooh, sophiX unable to take it. Though sLowi's ready for him. And I think HAVU should have a pretty easy time from this point on.
He's quite able to master the hops. Maybe there's a chance for at least one kill here. That would be the hope, just to try and reduce the economy a little bit. But no, this is a much better start for HAVU. Something we didn't really see in the previous map was the fact that every single time it seemed like ESPADA were stringing rounds together and getting rolling. Even now, their purchase on the ESPADA side is not going to be particularly good. Yet to see an AWP for degster, which was one of the main features of their Mirage CT side was how good this man was with the AWP. And XM even coming in for sophiX, which, again, if he's playing around the hut position, that really isn't too much of a detriment. It will allow him to pretty much play those close range angles, but as we saw previously in the retake, it can be damaging. And again, we're going to see the vent dive. No incendiary there to deny the initial push, and HAVU are just pushing down on a weakness that ESPADA clearly have.
Yeah, this is simply too easy. We were pointing it out earlier. If ESPADA continue to let this happen, they're going to have a lot of issues here. Dima has to go through the smoke, and, well, he gets one kill for his troubles, but one kill is all ESPADA have found across the board. degster unable to win that fight either. And ESPADA are losing out here early on their CT side of Nuke. This will be another round for HAVU. There's no way around it. FinigaN won't be winning this one. And if I'm ESPADA right now, I'm maybe just taking a pause ahead of the next gun round, because this is clearly not going according to plan for you. And sure, it would be an early pause, but I think someone needs to let them know that the vent dive is something that they've got to be better at dealing with. They've got to be more ready for. Maybe you even get an AWP into degster's hands and put him towards door to try and land some early shots. Maybe you just use your nades. Either way, something needs to change for ESPADA, because if you let HAVU get down to B site this early, the CTs aren't going to have players in position to stop it. You can't rotate down that fast. And you see Dima realizes he's just got to try and go through the smoke and fight for the site, but he's not going to be able to do so when he's alone. And that's allowing some easy early rounds for HAVU.
Ooh, he's just managed to dodge him. I can imagine that's going to be a little bit of confusion for hoody there as to how he was stood in that corner, but even still, it is going to be a 4-1 scoreline. HAVU off to a flying start. Exactly the sort of resurgence we wanted to see going into their map choice. But we're yet to really see ESPADA basically counter one of the most basic strategies in the entire game. Something that I'm pretty sure when Nuke was re-added to the pool was something that was done in every single matchmaking game to date. And it's still something that I do. What I like to do in my vent dive, especially in pistol rounds, is that the first player out the door doesn't go down the vent. So they act as a distraction.
Cheeky.
And then the bomb goes down the vent. Because also there's always that worry that the first person who's holding the bomb just gets headshotted. So you take that distraction away and then send the other down. It's a slight deviation from the normal play, which everybody goes for, but I find it works a lot more successfully. But more interestingly, I do think that they just need to start using nades and incendiaries just to basically destroy anybody who goes through. Even just pre-firing the door can work out quite nicely, especially if it's something that's going to be tried quite regularly by HAVU. The thing is, they can now force ESPADA to use a lot of their utility earlier and then switch into more of a play outside or something of the sort. They're still going to go in this direction once again. sophiX doing some damage with the shotgun, but no kill found.
That's just every time I use a shotgun in this game. It's like, yep, 90 damage, and he doesn't die. And you cry.
That's just because you're bad.
I mean, I think the shotguns are bad. I know I'm bad, but the shotguns are also part of it. Except the auto shotty, which is the one.
Oh, that's rough for FinigaN. They are going to have enough money now to get the AWP. They get multiple if they really wanted to, but I'm not sure that's an adaptation that specifically needs to be made. It is already a much better performance, though. Like Saw, for example, has had a huge step up. Hoody, Doto, pretty much the whole squad now performing in the place of ZOREE. But we can expect a bit more from him on the CT side. T side opening on this map kind of sucks. It only really works as a counter to basically someone just dominating you on the outside. But here we go. We've got that AWP. This is the first 4-buy we've actually seen from this CT side thus far, and they need to really build up some high amount of rounds. We have seen a lot more T-sided halves come in on this map as people have slowly developed their strategy, but I would still expect ESPADA to want at least 7 or 8 rounds on this half.
Yeah, definitely. And with this slow start, it's going to be difficult to get up to that mark unless they start winning rounds right now. Nice shot from degster, who was pushing into Hut. He had a teammate alongside him. Bit of aggression coming in here for the CTs, and sLowi has again been able to get out through door and again get down the vents. Maybe ESPADA just need to play someone down the vents at this point, because this is happening almost every round. And HAVU can begin to try and gain access, but oh, there was a gap in that smoke. Patsi makes the most of it, gets away with the second kill for ESPADA, and from a 5v3, ESPADA really should be winning this round almost every time.
Yeah, Dima has made an early rotation, though. So sLowi, is he going to expect this angle? It's a bit of a weird one because it is so open and would be very risky if the doors were opened. But the fact is, Dima has got that kill. They want to try and keep this one as clean as possible. Now he's going to be rotating around the rafters. He's got to be careful. 2 players here, but he gets both. Almost flawless round. Finally, ESPADA get on the board and on the buy. But there is so much money left for HAVU that they are going to be buying for at least a few rounds.
Yeah, Dima's someone that we saw back at Clutch Island. We keep referencing the Clutch Island because we were analyzing so many games there. But he was someone who was really good at the ramp room, holding that position. I think he had a half against Na'Vi where he got like 20 kills on the CT side or something crazy. And part of being that ramp room player is having that ability to rotate down to B and get into a position where you can try and lock it down with multiple kills. And Dima delivers for his team that time round. sLowi almost caught at the start of this one though. 3 health at the start of the round, but here's a fast A play. HAVU crunching in on this A site, and all the fights go their way. degster finally fires back, but it's too little, too late. He's bailing out of there as HAVU's switch up in terms of quick aggression onto A is all that they need to win this one.
Yeah, that is worrying. That is worrying how easy that looked for HAVU. Again, it's Saw doing the majority of the damage, but Dima and degster, no choice. They've just got to try and save their weaponry. There is enough finances in the bank that they'll be able to get another buy. Of course, the loss bonus not reset anymore. It is just diminished over time, so they are still going to be able to make enough cash. They've got to make sure that they don't just give these weapons up, though, and Saw is on the hunt. They've got so much money on the T side that they don't really have to worry about this. degster is going to take that initial kill. Now, Doto is going to know that it's going to be way more valuable just to take one of these guns away than it is to save his, and that's exactly what he does. It's the AWP to fall. Now, it can be repurchased, so it's not the end of the world, but it does mean that going into future rounds, if things do go wrong, they're going to be left in a bit of an awkward position, and NaToSaphiX didn't really need to buy an XM there.
No.
It can work, and a lot of players do find it as a viable gun on this map, but he could have just been given a rifle.
Yeah, I think the auto shotgun can be pretty effective, especially against those fast A plays, which is what they just lost against, so maybe that's part of it. I still think in general, ESPADA's A-site hold is sometimes a bit weak, and degster is just not ready for those players. He goes for the fight, but Patsy's got a gap in the smoke, and Patsi is about to pull the trigger. Almost 2. There it is. Second frag found, and the bomb dropped. That's a big problem for HAVU. They've got to go back to get the bomb, and those smokes will be fading shortly, so HAVU could have a really tough time of things here. You see on the minimap, they're not moving towards the bomb just yet, and look at Dima. He is taking matters into his own hands.
He needs this kill, though, and Doto has been taking peeks every once in a while. Ooh, it's a bit of a whiff initially, but he does correct his aim to find the kill. Hoody desperately trying to spot if there is anybody on the bomb, but there isn't. Just waiting patiently for a push to come in elsewhere. The thing is, though, with a minute left on the clock, it's not like HAVU have to worry about the time and so much money. They can easily go for a round like this, and even if they just get 1 or 2 kills, it would still make things very awkward. But chances are they're still going to have an opportunity to actually win out this round. They do make their way through mini. FinigaN might not be spotted. Patsy's supposed to be taking first contact, but he hasn't actually seen them go out yet. There's the spot, but he goes down. Are they going to expect FinigaN to be here? They don't. A second player up above. It's clear the T's thought that they'd be more defending that lower bomb site because of their initial position. And ESPADA, they get their 3rd round, but it's at a heavy cost.
Yeah, just that gap in the smokes is really the difference maker in the round. Straight up, Patsy's able to get those 2 kills because there was just a bit of information. A slight gap in those smokes can make all the difference. And once Patsy drops the bomb, it really throws the round into question, throws the round into disarray. I've got to say as well, I think FinigaN getting a couple of kills there on A is also an important sign and a positive one, because in general, this A site for ESPADA can be a problem position for them at times. They have svyat playing there, who we know is sometimes a low fragger, and then FinigaN can be a bit hit or miss. So seeing him step up with multiple kills is a good sign. And Patsy this time steps up at the start of this round, getting aggressive at yard. I think there were 3 CTs stacked there at the start of this round, and clearly that sort of aggression is something that HAVU were not ready for.
Yeah, still definitely a level of confidence to some of the players on this roster. Patsy's got to be careful, though. I'm surprised he's not actually scoped in. hoody will trade that kill, and all the success he had in the early portions of the round has now been diminished to absolutely nothing. A 4v4 situation almost always favors T side. Smoke's going to be thrown out. No gap this time, and unless degster's going to hit the perfect timing, he is just going to have to try and reposition. ZOREE was looking for this battle outside. Hasn't had too much to do just yet. They are going to be making their cross down. They've left a player further back, which could be interesting. sLowi not really involved in the current take, maybe just trying to stop the rotations. And once again, we've got Dima already down, ready and waiting.
Time is ticking as well.
Yeah, 20 seconds up and coming on the clock. Incendiary going to go down into the window. I like this. It delays even further as they get down to the remaining 15 seconds. They should expect this. He played here before, but again, it's going to be the easy kill. Another one with the bomb dropped, and it has to be the push forward now. Needs to just get onto it. I don't think there's a chance anymore as hoody. He needs to get this kill. Just has to hide for a second, and he's going to get it. That is atrocious. Just needed to survive, and unfortunately, it wasn't going to happen for ESPADA. I don't know how HAVU get away with that round, but that's a big clutch for them to take.
Yeah, not a convincing one for HAVU, but hey, they get the kills onto B. That's the main thing that matters. I was really concerned for HAVU there because they took so long to start to move down towards B. They hadn't cleared out the window room, for example. They hadn't cleared out some of those spots, so they just had to end up pushing towards the site with very little information and very little ability to set up those nades in the first place. If you get there with about 30 seconds left on the clock, you can maybe start to smoke off ramp. You can start to try and cut off those rotates. But fair play to HAVU, they just about win out the fights. ESPADA end up losing by elimination. And now the CTs are on a low buy, but degster's landed one. Make it a second. degster's being flanked, but he gets his gun out. He doesn't get the chance to get the kill, though. hoody takes him out of the round, and now HAVU are coming back in full force, but FinigaN is here to play. The Deeg spams down 2 players, and hoody has to save his team from this round, because they're down right now in a 1v2. 15 kills for hoody, though. If there's any man to do it, it would be him.
Problem is retrieving that bomb is going to be a lot easier said than done, and it should be expected. NaToSaphiX is already prepared, and a round out of nowhere might have just given ESPADA a lifeline that didn't look like it was coming. It's also set the economy back now for HAVU, so this will be potentially their last purchase for a while if they do lose this round. Disgusting stuff from degster once again. And this from FinigaN was very nice, a little bit less clean, but I don't think he's going to be complaining about the kills. And this is what I mean. Financially now, a little bit awkward. Looking like ZOREE, in fact, doesn't even have his AWP unless that's been lost somewhere along the way. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a faster play. And in fact, they're actually going to molly into the vents.
Jeez. Just
really worried about players going in that direction at this point. And I can understand why. Patsy's still trying to be a bit more proactive around outside, but it's mainly been a one and done for him. And sLowi has still managed to get down the vent, so I guess it doesn't really matter what you do. This man is still going to sneak past.
Yeah, I think Patsi over at main maybe just needs to have more eyes on that position. He's really focused on yard there completely. And you can understand it to some extent, because HAVU have been going for these outside smokes, but still, Patsi strays into the open, and it works for him. Saw not ready for that position. So maybe Patsy's positioning does pay off for him there. svyat was also trying to watch towards the vents, so maybe that's part of why Patsy was so focused on yard. But hoodie's looking for a kill, and FinigaN is playing this close angle. This angle that FinigaN's playing so often goes overlooked. It's really difficult to just straight up clear that position, and if hoody tries to push out here alone, he would be in trouble. I think because he's alone, though, he's just going to take his time because his teammates are moving down to the B side of the map. Dima not on the site this time. He's having to hold from ramp, and this is where the nades could lock him out. He goes for it, but Doto somehow turns it round. Okay, Doto was the man from below, which makes a bit more sense as HAVU get it down in a 4v4, and hoody was waiting the entire time for that rotation.
It's all too easy for HAVU to just pick this CT side apart, and they themselves are not in a good spot financially.
That's pretty sick.
Patsi will at least be able to get himself a free AK, a slight upgrade from the M4 that he was holding, but nonetheless, it's going to be the half victory taken, and the question is, will he actually get to hold on to that AK? The timing couldn't really have been worse. He spotted out sLowi as well and just looks to try and retreat back before taking any more losses in this round. Losses they really can't afford. It will be 8-4 now, and HAVU definitely looking a lot more prominent on their map choice.
Just much more convincing from HAVU here. In general, they're looking like they have better plans at the start of these rounds. I think the comfort level is probably helping their individuals play a bit better as well. They're more used to taking these fights. They're more used to these angles. 8-4 lead for HAVU. I think in general they've had a good mix as well of faster and slower plays, and here's a fast one. Patsi trying to hold, but that Molotov is burning him. Oh, he's down to 23 health, and FinigaN's unable to watch the vents, so they've got down vents again. I think Dima has rotated down towards B, though, and Saw is just now dropping. Okay, there we go. He goes down safely, joining the rest of his comrades down towards B. ESPADA still haven't rotated a player down to the B site itself, though, from what I can see. So HAVU might be able to have access to B. Okay, there is Dima on the site itself, but again, he's very isolated in this position. If he loses out, they lose this B site pretty fast.
Yeah, he's having to play some slightly more aggressive angles. He can't obviously use his silo spot again. Already, though, Patsi is going to fall, and 4-4 ensues. They do take an awful lot of map control. Now, if they can get ramp, then Dima would be screwed for sure. But the question is, are they even planning on going in this direction? They have the wrap around. Doto might even just be able to burst up the vents and leave the remaining CTs in a fairly awkward position. sophiX might be about to ruin their day, though. He's just spotted ZOREE in hell, and that gives so much information over to these remaining players. Dima, though, it will be him coming under pressure. Again, just trying to waste some time, but with 2 entries coming in a matter of seconds, it is looking like this round is done just like the last, as FinigaN and degster are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, ESPADA are unable to deal with this B-sided play right now. Oftentimes relying on Dima to hold it alone, and he doesn't have any players anywhere near. So even if Dima got 1 kill and then was traded, it probably still would have been the round loss. Really well worked by HAVU there, though. They slow it down significantly, but they end up taking so much map control from it, right? They wrap back up through secret, they get themselves into hell, they get themselves all sorts of positions which make ESPADA uncomfortable. And I think a lot of teams there would have just quickly pushed the B site, but HAVU decided they wanted to make life even more difficult for ESPADA. They wanted to keep ESPADA guessing to some extent. And even though ESPADA went for information plays and went for pushes that got them the information, it didn't allow them a rotation to come through in time. They still only had the 1 player down on B. Hoody now up to 17 kills. Has been really impressive here, but I think it has been more just about the team play and the calls from HAVU in a lot of these rounds that have really allowed them to come out on top, have really allowed them to get a lot of success. And unless ESPADA can win at least 1 or probably 2 more rounds from this first half, they're going to be pretty far behind here from their CT side of Nuke.
Once again, we're going to see a lot of early utility expended. Same angles being played. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a vent dive at some point. It's happened almost every single round that somebody's been able to thread the needle, mainly Saw. But instead, a bit more of a passive start here from HAVU. Haven't really had to put much pressure onto the ramp, so maybe that's the change that will be made. Finally switching up their strategy for one that's been so successful, but now can be quite predictable. The vent's not broken, so at least sophiX can know this time that no one's gone in that direction. degster's aggression is actually going to be spammed for, but he is still surviving for now. It's actually FinigaN who's taken the majority of the damage so far for them in this round.
HAVU keeping their cards close to their chest right now, not giving too much away at the start of this one. sophiX just died to a molly. I don't think there were any shots there. It sounded like it was the molly that completely burned him. I don't know exactly where he was playing, but that's not the start that ESPADA needed. This is more like it, though. degster landing 2 kills in on the HUT aggression, and Dima, committed to ramp, has to fight his way out of this, but he gets traded out by ZOREE, and now HAVU should have access to this B site. Unfortunately, it's only ZOREE alive, so with 3 players against him, even as he gets this bomb down, his chances are slim at best, and, well, he just gets spammed through the smoke. Good rotation from Patsi. HAVU not able to win this one as degster's AWP finally comes into play. Haven't seen too much impact from him, but he definitely stepped it up there.
Yeah, this is at least a lifeline in this map. Looking to try and make sure they retrieve all the utility and weaponry that they can as they get themselves their 5th onto the board. Of course, as we mentioned throughout, the T's have had absolutely no issues with economy all the way through this half. After the early 3-1 lead that they took, it's been pretty much perfect from there. A 6th for ESPADA said if they can win the pistol, they really wouldn't be in that bad a spot anymore. This isn't the same 13-2 nuke that we used to see back in the day where you could pretty much base a pistol round victory off the whole match being done. At the same time, though, a 10-5 without a pistol, I think is pretty much over.
Yeah, I think 5 was kind of the absolute minimum that ESPADA needed to maybe have a chance if they win that pistol, unless something crazy happens. 6 would be much nicer for them, and Saw, oh, great entry onto Patsi. There are still players on this A site waiting, but FinigaN has been taken out of the equation, and sophiX now has got to step it up. He can't do so. Again, I've said it before, I think this A-site hold can be weak for ESPADA at times. FinigaN and sophiX are not the best fraggers on this team, and, well, that A-site collapsing leaves ESPADA in a 2v5 retake that they have to go for, but they won't be liking their chances. Both Dima and degster coming in from heaven, and Doto will seal the deal for HAVU, giving them a 10-5 lead at the half.
Yeah, very good T-side coming out from HAVU, and I think the way that they were relatively dynamic, constantly switching things up, but also putting pressure on positions, they were finding exploitations. This looked like a much better side from the Finns, and one that was necessary. Of course, if they do lose this map, they are going to be out of the tournament, finishing, well, not in last place, obviously, because we are in the playoffs, but last in the playoffs, joint with the side of Endpoint. Definitely not 2 teams we would have expected necessarily to be down in these sort of positions, mainly because you look at the side of Blast Rising, and they were the 2 teams getting all the way towards the end. Nonetheless, we now get to see if they can do it going onto their CT side. Normally the favored, but not by much. And for the ESPADA, they've now got to try and get 11 rounds on their T side, which I'm not going to be too confident in.
Yeah, it's hard to win out the T side at times. I mean, like you said, Nuke is much more balanced now, but winning it out by such a big margin remains difficult. Pistol round would be the start to it, though. sophiX and FinigaN buying up the nades. There's also a P250 bought by FinigaN, which he's keeping rather than giving to one of the players who has armor. And here comes the fast A aggression. Dima looking for some entries. He gets one, but his teammates are all falling around him. Dima trying his damnedest, but it's not going to be enough. FinigaN's got 3 players to find, turning with the P250, but there are 2 players behind him. And, oh, he actually gets that first, but Hoody is there to back his teammate up. And HAVU winning that pistol round puts them in a really good position here on Nuke.
Yeah, this is looking bleak, and I'm not overly surprised that we do actually see the T's invest back into this one. A couple of SMGs, some Tech 9s, probably just going to be a blast into the A site. It wouldn't be a bad suggestion. The fact that HAVU have actually gone for all SMGs themselves, maybe not expecting there to be a purchase here, but at the same time, it's one of the maps where you definitely can use those close-range weapons already. It is going to be an early trade and completely blinded. I don't know how Hoody's alive. He actually falls into the vent. And somehow the T's are making this one work quite effectively. Doto with a nice shot, though, on the P250. Definitely not ideal to have a scout in this sort of position. But they could potentially line up for him, and if they go down the vent, they could be in even more trouble. Instead, there's going to be a wraparound coming in towards heaven, and the bomb is going to be planted as well.
Well, this would be the way that ESPADA could keep themselves alive here on Nuke. As long as they can close out this round, they keep themselves in with a somewhat decent chance. Hoodie gets one kill from above, though, and there might be more where that's coming from. The MP9 dishing out the damage. degster taken down low. There's no kit in hand right now, and Hoodie losing that fight should be the end of it. degster closes out the round, and ESPADA keep themselves alive here. It still remains unlikely. It still remains a long road ahead of them, but it remains somewhat possible thanks to that round win. Make sure to check out Hellcase. You can use the code SLTV15 for a 15% refill bonus. That's over on Hellcase. Big thanks to them for being the sponsors of this tournament. And we will get back into the force buy wars, Tom, because HAVU are not going to give up without a fight. They've got a force buy of their own with 2 scouts and a UMP alongside some pistols. But ESPADA going for a fast play into ramp, and sLowi doesn't land a single shot. I don't know how he doesn't land a single shot, but he doesn't land a single shot.
Yeah, this is one of the only ways that ESPADA really could have got back into this match, was to not only take themselves a round off of force buy, but potentially win another one clean. I don't really think that if this bomb goes down on the B site, the remaining players from HAVU can even attempt a retake. With 2 scouts, a pistol, and a UMP, it really wouldn't be worth it, and it looks like they're already opting to save, so a decent round from ESPADA. Obviously not going to be making too much money off the SMGs themselves, but I guess from their perspective, as long as they're winning, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you were pointing out earlier that teams like Endpoint and HAVU were teams we maybe weren't expecting to go down to the lower bracket, and I was just looking at the rankings. Technically, Endpoint are the 3rd highest ranked team at this tournament, at 31st in the world. I think that the reason why we have the chance of seeing some of these upsets, though, is that there are a bunch of teams in and around the 30th to 40th ranked spots in the world that are all battling it out to really try and prove who's the best of them. And the other point is that we know that the rankings sometimes can favor the teams who play more. And Endpoint are one of the teams that have been grinding it out. So seeing them lose was a bit surprising, but not outside of the realms of possibility. HAVU also, for what it's worth, the 2nd highest ranked team here at this tournament. So if they were to go out, some of the big dogs would be going out early. But right now, HAVU have got themselves the lead on this map. A couple of saved guns on the HAVU side. In fact, they'll have guns across the board. Pistols on a couple of their players. But once again, this is how ESPADA had to get back into this game. They've stepped it up in these early rounds. Let's see if they can do it again, because they are still up against what is a somewhat dangerous buy of HAVU here. I say buy, they save most of the guns, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is an opportunity, that's for sure. I think Doto might have just seen someone, and, well, if he didn't, then he would have just missed the last man as well.
Yeah, they're rotating down to be with a couple of players here at HAVU. So they definitely have a decent idea that this is a possibility.
Trying to clear out some of the closer angles. Molotov as well. We'll move some of the players back, so they're methodically just taking map control. This is probably one of the better opportunities for HAVU to at least do some damage, though. They've got the crossfires, they've got plenty of players here, and they know that this push is coming in on this direction. Dima's still lurking on the outside of the map, and sophiX has actually gone back up. It seems like the T's are well aware of this potential, and because of that, they are actually going to be clearing out a lot of these angles. Hoodie's spot is a prime position, though, to potentially steal a gun away. It's whether or not Dima's actually going to check this close left angle, or more so, if Hoodie is going to have the patience to wait.
Well, Dima is the man who's actually having even more patience here, but finally, Hoodie comes into action. 4v4 after both teams get themselves a kill apiece. Problem for HAVU is with that bomb being planted, their chances at winning the round outright go down significantly. It might just be about trying to get some kills and perhaps trying to get some guns at the end here, which Hoodie has obviously been able to do, getting a Galil into his hands. sophiX MAC-10 looking for more. Closing the distance onto this scout player, and even though the tag lands, sophiX is able to secure that kill. Only the MAC-10 being lost, so not a big deal for ESPADA, who will go on to take their 8th round win. A couple of guns saved for HAVU, but I'm not sure if they're going to want to use both of these scouts. Maybe one of them could be kept by Saw, whose money isn't perfect. But in general, it's ESPADA who have got themselves the full AKs, and it's HAVU who might not have all the weapons available to them here. Soar's actually switched out the scout for an MP9. So there is a scout on the floor which he could use, but having 2 scouts is a real vulnerability on the CT side. You need to have some closer range weapons, so the MP9 picked up by Soar. ZOREE keeping a bunch of cash in the bank as well. He had enough money to drop a teammate. He had enough money to upgrade his gun, but he's not going to do so. And maybe this is a chance for ESPADA to keep on rolling here. Bit of early damage done to Dima, who's forced away, but ESPADA have got those outside smokes up, and they've got themselves down secret. At least the first man has, but ZOREE's got eyes on this position. I feel like he must have seen at least 2 of those.
Oh, this is risky. Dima's in a very good position, just waiting for the peak. The patience pays off. And now the CT side, once again, are going to have a disadvantage in this round, especially now that they've lost a second man already. ZOREE getting tagged within inches of his life, and they're getting picked apart. Even though there's so many low players on their side, not a single duel has gone their way. I don't know if Soar's even going to be expecting this angle from svyat. He even just executes another and spots the last man. That's all the information that ESPADA needed. They will be having their 9th round, no doubt. The question is, will Doto be allowed to save his gun?
Yeah, the ESPADA's money's good enough to commit at least a couple of players to this. Okay, Patsi just runs it in with the Glock. Cool. It works out for him. Doto not able to save. And, I mean, this is where ZOREE has extra money into this round because he didn't upgrade previously. But at the same time, what's he going to use it on? Maybe another scout, maybe dropping some weapons, or maybe the hero AWP, which is the option that ZOREE has gone for. I think he should still have enough money to get an AWP into the next gun round as well if he wants it. It might be a bit closer, but who knows? Maybe this hero AWP will be able to step up for HAVU. Let's see what ZOREE decides to do with it. He's going to be the linchpin in this round, and ZOREE is holding ramp right now. Good fight against Dima. That's a gun that could maybe be recovered. sLowi puts down a smoke to try and get that AK into his hands, and he recovers it. So now a second gun for HAVU, and now they're really cooking with gas in this round. They've got the man advantage, and they've got an AK recovered for sLowi.
Yeah, the question is, are they actually going to be able to do anything with it? Because that is a long way back in this round, even still. Again, they've managed to take a lot of control on the lower bomb side, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to execute. They did this before. They tried to basically bait a rotation out from HAVU, and then actually ended up going back in the other direction, just to try and catch them off guard. Now, ZOREE's already going to be here, and so is sLowi as well. So they do have both rifles in the right place at the right time. They are going to force a couple of them back. Nice work from sLowi onto the first. No trade available just yet, and getting past ZOREE's going to be a difficult case already. Only 2 players remaining now for ESPADA after what's been a fantastic comeback thus far. This might be the end of the train, as degster's going to try and get aggressive, but he's so low on HP. He just doesn't stand a chance. Even still, he manages to get 2, but that is a big round for HAVU to win. They stop the comeback. They reduce the streak. The question is now, Alex, can they continue it and close out this map?
Yeah, ESPADA's money remains perfect across the board, so they've got to win more gun rounds here, but that's a start for them, especially having ZOREE land a shot, who's had a really quiet game. Having the AWP in his hands, this makes all the difference. He gets that first pick, then sLowi has a smoke, which made a nice difference as well, to be able to get the AK into his hands and to be able to come into play there. HAVU able to rotate down to B. Plenty of players waiting for the aggression. And now that HAVU have got the full gun round, the proper full gun round with the AWP, with the full nades, with the full rifles, I'm feeling much better about their chances here, because in those earlier ones, they did have weaker weapons. They did have some missing nades. Now that's changed, but FinigaN gets the kill and gets down the vents. That's a great start to the round for ESPADA. That puts so much pressure on HAVU here.
Yeah, the other thing as well is with the nade going off, I do wonder if they still think there's somebody down there. It looks like Soar is more than aware. I was just wondering if maybe the nade going off would have masked his drop, which, maybe I'm just clutching at straws. Doto is definitely hunting for this man, though. If they can kill him off, there's a chance. Good positioning from FinigaN, but he's not quite quick enough on the trigger. saphiX going to utilize this kerfuffle to try and gain some space, but they're making a hell of a lot of noise, and sLowi is more than aware. ZOREE is going to go down as well, and the rest of the team are going to go running back towards heaven. Soar with a quick trade, though. this round definitely isn't done just yet, and he's trying to keep some control. It seems like every time the T's gain some ground, they're almost forced to give it back up, and Saw just playing the headshot angle is going to make things at least a little bit awkward. I wonder if they'll even expect him to be here. That miss spray could give them the chance, but he gets the first, peeks back, can't quite get the second. Degster so quick on the trigger that he takes down sLowi, and now Doto 1v2. Bomb looking to be planted in a safe spot. Degster switched up to the rifle, but the thing is whether or not they actually give Doto an angle to take. They now know exactly where he is, so Degster doesn't really have to reface. He still takes the fight, and well, it's a little bit awkward, but Dima is going to get the kill. 10-12, CT side, Money is in an awkward spot once again. I wonder if we might see the same sort of case where they spend some of it in order to try and do some damage.
Yeah, it was great watching the rotations for both teams in that round. That's what the high-level Nuke games can look like, where, to begin with, ESPADA get the man down vents, they get that opening kill, then they realize that HAVU probably have to rotate their ramp player down to B to begin with. So they make the most of that gap, they get themselves into ramp, but then HAVU had a player aggressively down on B towards ramp, so they knew it wasn't the B play. They stacked 2 players on A. It looked like HAVU had the right read on the situation, but ESPADA end up just fragging out. They win some fights. They group up together. Just seeing the mind games and the rotations between those 2 teams in that round was really great to see. Starting to get some high-level stuff here on Nuke, and as this game goes on, that's going to have to continue for HAVU because this is starting to slip away from them. Only 2 rounds in this one right now. ZOREE's got that AWP again. We saw him make a play with that previously, but he's sitting in a much safer position this time in towards Hell. Degster does need to be somewhat careful here. Alone with the AWP, you don't want to be taking these close-range fights without someone backing you up. But ESPADA are going for the ramp play, and that's where ZOREE's waiting. Oh, he lands the shot, but he doesn't get the kill onto Patsi, who goes down to 20 health. And now ESPADA can find themselves access towards B.
Is there going to be a rotation quick enough? Saw's already on spot. CZ, no armor. Definitely not the ideal weaponry, but the side of the T's are starting to get slowed down a little bit. They've got to be careful. All of these rounds have been pretty close. That flashbang left Saw completely blind, and the smoke now fading doesn't leave him with much of a chance. They're going to put the pressure on Dima with the execution. It is going to be an after-plant situation, and with no kit available, this should just be a save now. I don't really see a realm in which at least the players with the AWP and the rifle can get back into this one. There's going to be almost a TK. Patsi is almost killed off through Hoody's face. A few spam shots coming in. They're trying to at least reduce the economy of the T side, but at this point, it's not really going to matter too much. We are just waiting to see how much damage can realistically be done. sLowi has managed to find that M4, but he has to get as far away from this bomb as possible. It can be quite misleading how close you actually get to this bomb from below. I think he should be okay from here.
I think so too. I hope so. Yeah. He is able to save the M4. ZOREE also able to save the AWP, which is a nice benefit for them. Again, though, he hasn't had too much impact with that sniper. He didn't really need to use it too much on their first half, on their T side. Now that we're heading into the CT side, though, he hadn't been able to get the AWP in some of the earlier rounds. Now that he's got it, I think we need to see him stepping up in some of these, because he's only got 9 kills right now. And as someone who's meant to be the star player on HAVU, that's not really good enough. And we're seeing it make the difference. ESPADA bringing it back to within 1 round. That nade is terrible. And you can see FinigaN is pissed off about it. It hits his teammate in the back. It doesn't blow open the door as they wanted it to, and he couldn't throw his Molotov because the door didn't get opened up. So that's a really awkward start to the round for ESPADA, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a bit of team damage, and it just means they've got to go for a plan B here instead of being able to open up that door early. Smoked down by HAVU to make sure that that squeaky position isn't a possibility. Ooh, a bit more nade damage done to Dima, this time from an opponent rather than a teammate. But they are going for a fast A play. Hoodie's out in the open right here. He could be in trouble. Only 1 kill for him. Flash is about to come on through, but FinigaN's found 2 trade kills off the back of his teammates. And this bomb should be planted unless Doto has something to say about it. Oh, wait, where's the bomb going? It's going all the way down to B. FinigaN has slipped through the cracks, and this is something HAVU might not be ready for.
Yeah, the problem is they're going to rely heavily on Degster to actually try and deny all of these rotations. Otherwise, it is going to have to just be one man. Are they going to expect it? They are not, so that's a free kill at least. Now he can go for the rotation. It should be expected at least by Doto, but he's actually going to go past. Wow. He's not bothered about degster's position. He just wants to try and kill off the remaining man. The door's going to be shut in his face to spam through. Not quite clean enough. The Tech 9 could do the damage, but he's whiffing his shots. He might have just given this round away, and ZOREE is going to be able to get them another onto the board. There is a kit available. It won't be an issue for HAVU, and they are going to get their 13th. But damn, was it close.
Yeah, I wonder if degster got baited in by hearing those steps there, because the bomb was clearly planted more for Decon, that single door position. But I think he wanted to chase down that kill, and it just never quite came through for him. He was desperately looking for it, but doesn't go his way. And the odds on Unicorn dead even right now between these two teams. HAVU still looking like they are favored here on Nuke at least, but man, oh man, is it coming close for them. Nade going over to Yard from Doto. Quick A play again from ESPADA. They got some kills here last round. They're going for it in this one. Hoody gets the first kill, but he's trapped in the smoke, and the AKs come back around. Saw puts down a defensive smoke, but the kills keep on coming. FinigaN again finding all the kills needed. And ZOREE, well, lands a shot. Maybe there is something to be said about this. He's got 2 more to find, and they're just now getting the bomb down.
Oh, the nade. Probably going to turn it into the 1 versus 1. Now, FinigaN is the man you'd want to have. It's a battle for the 4K to see who can get this one through. ZOREE has had a step up in this round. Someone who can easily dominate at times. Hasn't had the best of games, but we know that he can pull it out of the bag. FinigaN, on the other hand, has been one of the standouts across this series so far. 3 to his name. Just waiting for the peek, and he's going to get spotted. The push coming in, trying to bait things out, and he gets the headshot anyway. FinigaN gets his 19th frag, and this comeback continues. We were looking at a dominant first half, a 10-5 scoreline, even, I think, the pistol going their way, and somehow it's now down to just 1.
Yeah, these kills from FinigaN, so well done. That nade in heaven got him a kill as he was firing off. FinigaN even put a molly on the bomb at the end there to try and buy more time before he went for the peak. Just beautifully played by FinigaN, who, I was saying earlier, he's oftentimes set up to try and get those trade kills, and now he's really finding effectiveness with it on that A site. Got to give him props for that. I think if FinigaN can be unlocked for this ESPADA team, they can be a real threat at this tournament with some of the other players they have as well. And FinigaN politely closing the door behind him like a true gentleman at the start of this one. Only pistols for HAVU, so ESPADA decide to take a chill pill. Decide to slow it down. Imagine if a doctor prescribed you a chill pill. I probably wouldn't go back to that doctor if he called it that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that you could maybe describe as that, but some of them are not legal in a lot of countries, and other ones are used for much more serious illnesses. So, if he said take a chill pill, I probably wouldn't be too happy either. Aggressive push coming in. Somehow this is actually looking pretty good, but just as I say that, degster, Patsi, Dima combined. Hoody still going to be able to find 1. He's been fragging this game, but it's now left on just Saw. And, well, I guess they're a little bit wary about where this last man could be. Just going to be patiently waiting. Smoke holding him out at least for a moment. Only 30 seconds left, so they are going to have to make their way on towards the bomb site.
Oh my God.
He spotted the first, picked up an AK. The door's been shut in his face, though, and that's a little bit brutal. All he has to do is try and drop this bomb, but it's going to be a little bit too late, and Dima's even going to get the kill at the end. It was a nice attempt from Saw, but I think at every corner there was something in his way.
Yeah, I'm going to say fair play to ESPADA for closing that door behind them. I think some teams wouldn't have had that foresight, but it makes the difference there because they might have just lined up for him, and that could have been the difference in the round. So props to ESPADA, clearly thinking ahead. And I hope they've been thinking ahead to this round as well, because it's another gun round for HAVU, but this game is heating up here. We're into round 27. We could be going the distance in regulation. FinigaN was trying to get out through door early, but the Molotov denies him. That's something that HAVU have been pretty successful at, is denying the early squeaky play, but sLowi has got to be careful. The Molotov is well timed, but the smoke goes down, and sLowi has to get away safely. He's dropping down, but he might be in trouble. Oh, he's dead. Patsi runs him down, and they're getting straight on towards this B site.
Yeah, still degster has gone down, but it should be an afterplant. Nice work from ZOREE to at least give them a man advantage in this scenario. Bomb still yet to be planted, but it is going to be juggled around. The rest of the team are going to be given the space to rotate, and this is going to be a real tough after-plant position for ESPADA. Not only are they a man down, but they haven't really had the opportunity to gain any ground, which is always going to make things that a little bit more difficult. I like the spot through the door, though. That's smart stuff coming in from Patsi, who's actually going to continue his push, maybe a little bit too aggressive, as he hands away another kill, leaves just 2 players remaining, trying to hold on in this scenario. The bomb ticking in their favor, but I don't think the round will go that way. HAVU take their 14th, but once again, they lose a couple of players, and they're in the same scenario as last round. If they lose this one, they are going to be struggling a bit.
Yeah, I think Patsi's push is just a bit costly there, especially when Dima is waiting behind him, right? They've seen Patsi's position in towards the double doors. I think if Patsi just tries to continue to play there and bait them in, Dima might have been set up for some kills there on those stairs. He was in a pretty good position to try and play behind his teammate, but Patsi just gets a bit antsy, which is understandable. As a 16-year-old, someone who's not too experienced, he wants to just go and take fights. He wants to rely on his aim. But unfortunately, that's where the experience might have been something, or rather the inexperience might have been something that costs him. Either way, it's still not the end of the world for ESPADA. It's another gun round, and it's another fast one, straight through the door. Damage being done by the flames, and FinigaN again getting entries onto A. This man has been a machine at getting entries onto this A site, and just those 2 kills alone should be the round. HAVU are already bailing on this one. We've got to give FinigaN a lot of props for these rounds. He really has been stepping up.
I'm not sure how he's able to do this so consistently as well. Like, you feel like the same as the last half, there just needs to be a better denial of those A-site aggressive plays, and I do wonder if they're going to try and hunt down these guns, because in reality, their economy's in a good enough spot that they can take a bit of a risk. Even just dropping a gun or 2 could make things fairly difficult for the CT side going into the next round, especially with the back-and-forth nature that we've been witnessing over the last few. T's, though, seemingly fairly happy to just hold on to their own weaponry, but here comes that push. A little bit of a face-in. Doto just trying his best to survive around the edge, using some counter-utility just to try and stop anybody else getting a kill. degster even going to be going for a peek, but we'll find nothing. 14-14. Of course, the last 2 rounds going the way of ESPADA would give them the victory and eliminate HAVU as one of the first teams out of the playoffs. If, of course, HAVU win, then we're off to a 3rd map.
Anyone's game here on Nuke, though, heading into round 29. We will be going the distance. We'll be playing all the rounds in regulation. HAVU have got to buy for this one, but if they lose here, their money might be called into question ahead of the next. So an important round for HAVU if they want to keep their chances in this tournament alive. ZOREE has again got a small gap in this smoke. I wonder if he'll be able to make the most of it, though. ESPADA not yet moving, but wow, sLowi gets the kill onto Dima. Looks like Dima was trying to make it through a smoke there, but not able to do so. degster gets one back, though, so even though it was looking like ESPADA might go a man down early, they've been able to get a kill. They've been able to get 1 man down secret as well, which might be enough for them to try and split through. The problem is, hoodie's pushed all the way in. NaToSaphiX just waiting. Oh no, the timing might go against him. Sword takes the fight at just the right time. And HAVU have themselves a man advantage. And look at this from hoodie. He's going to be in behind them. I don't know if he's going to flank down. I don't think he's going to spot them. But this is still a position which can be very powerful.
It's all going to come down to timing.
Oh, he made noise, I
round.
think. Oh, did he? Oh, maybe not.
It does look like this. No, maybe not. I thought they were watching, but they aren't. This round is falling apart. Peek going to be coming in from FinigaN again. He's going to find another impactful kills, but they're running out of time. They have to check for sLowi, and he's already going to get the first pick. This round is looking over. FinigaN trying to find a way back into the round, but everything is sectioned off at this point, and it will be HAVU making their way to 15. ESPADA trying their best to survive in this map. They've got the money to do it. The question is, are they taking us to overtime?
Has been a very impressive T-half from ESPADA to even get to this point, but there's one more round that's required for them to keep themselves alive on Nuke. By slowly but surely coming through ahead of this last round. And it looks like we will get a pause ahead of it. I always say that whenever you get to round 30, a lot of teams will start to play super safe, will start to play passive. And maybe don't check out Hellcase right now, because we've got the last round of regulation. But after the game, you can go ahead and go over to Hellcase and use the code SLTV15 for a 15% refill bonus. For now, though, keep your eyes firmly locked on this screen, because it is this last round of regulation that we've been waiting for. It's HAVU who have the chance to take us to a third, but ESPADA's T side has been impressing us so far as we get underway into this one. Let's see what both teams decide to go for. HAVU spamming into the vents, making sure that there's no drop early, but there's a man just speeding through yard. I think that's ZOREE, who maybe should be renamed to Sonic right there, because that was fast as hell.
degster still trying to find a pick. saphiX the man to watch. The problem is there's no way onto this B side without making noise. So unless they're going to try and mask the sound, which was one of the clever things I've seen a few teams do, like open a door. I think it was Astralis that did that. Open a door at the same time on the other side of the map just to try and bamboozle them. But I think that might be a bit easier said than done. Dima, though, first entry, another couple coming up in a matter of seconds. ZOREE has to be the hero here, and he's just not going to be able to flop straight into the hands of sLowi. And I think he knows at this point that we are heading to overtime, a 1 versus 5 situation. Those upper A hits have been phenomenal from the side of ESPADA.
Whenever you start rotating over to A and you see your teammate dropping down the heaven ladder, the dead body, you know you're not in for a good time. And I think sLowi is aware of that. Okay, I didn't even see degster there. That's not fair. But it is 15-15. It is overtime. And remember, ESPADA stick on the T side now, and HAVU stick on their CT side, which has been a problem for them, to say the least. Got to give props to ESPADA for getting these A plays to work for them, but yeah, it's hard to tell what goes wrong with those A plays sometimes for the CTs, because it can be just very chaotic. You oftentimes get a bunch of nades, you get Molotovs on top of hut, you get flashes all over the place, but they really haven't shown much resistance on that A bomb site in some of these rounds. That's going to have to change. Maybe ZOREE could try and play towards A, maybe in towards main or something with the AWP. That could be a switch-up that they go for, but when all those nades come in, it's always difficult for the AWPers to have impact. So we'll wait and see if there are any switch-ups for HAVU as we head into the first round of overtime, with HAVU sticking on this troublesome CT side.
It's been surprising to have a 10-5 half, win the pistol, and still end up losing a 10-5 half back in return. I think this man is one of the main men to watch. FinigaN with 23 kills now. We've definitely seen a slowdown from some of the men on the HAVU side. But they might have actually heard that rotation. That could give some space on the other side of the map. So we are going to have the T's just patiently waiting in the spawn. Maybe going to go for an outside execution. Something we haven't really seen too much throughout this game, to be honest. Like, there's been a few. The smokes have been thrown, but not just a straight B push through secret. It's mainly been utilizing the vent, which is normally something both teams are pretty good at denying.
Ooh, nice shot from hoody to kick things off. They're onto the A site, though, and ZOREE, what? Doesn't get the kill. That turnaround is unreal from Dima, and he makes it a second. Thankfully, Doto's able to spray him through the smoke, but Dima's made all the difference in this round because ESPADA are onto that A site. And oh, Patsi just spams back at Doto through the smoke, leaving it up to sLowi. He's going to see if he can go for this. He's going to look for a gap, look for something. But ESPADA are playing it so safe right now, and this is exactly what they need to do. Just sit in corners, make sLowi go into the open to take these fights, and then you can just gang up on him. sLowi beginning to move in. Patsi not ready for it, but saphiX certainly is. ESPADA win the first round of overtime, and ESPADA into the lead here. And if HAVU aren't careful, their money will be fully reinvested. This is a round now that becomes very important for HAVU.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Normally you don't see too many tournaments running 10K. I suppose it's actually a fair mix, but I'm not a fan for this very reason, that you can have rounds where you end up with basically a 4 spy. Now, Nuke is definitely one where you can make 4 spies work on the CT side with SMGs, but it's never something you want to be seeing in overtime. We are going to have a pause for now in play. taking some time to talk this one over. Hoodie still 29 kills, but there's been plenty of other players excluding him that have stepped up. Degster 25, Dima 24, FinigaN 23, and that trifecta of death has been performing so well on this T side. If they can get the last couple, or even just this one, it should set themselves up nicely. Especially as we then get the proper full buy coming out from ESPADA with the AWP, and whether or not the same mentality would be there from HAVU. I like the change of pace though. A bit of aggression coming out from Doto, trying to take some map control away from this CT, or from this T side, sorry. But again, we are going to see the smoke thrown over the top, a bit of counter utility expended, as Saw may just try and play on the edge of this vent. FinigaN patiently waiting. It's a bit of an awkward duel as Doto's unable to quite connect the shots. The counter nade being expended as he tries to retreat, but he almost dies. Left onto just 22 HP, and so much utility has had to be used just to hold him back.
Yeah, at least he gets away with his life, which was a real question mark at that point. After missing the earlier spray, Patsi appears to be waiting by the door. Maybe he's going to swing it open and allow a teammate's nade to come in. So far, though, no one from ESPADA in lobby as it stands. In fact, they're lining up some nades elsewhere. FinigaN and degster just repositioning. Clearly, one of them knows one of the yard smokes. The other one knows the other one. And if they do get them both to land, there is, again, this very small gap. ZOREE hasn't really been able to make the most of this, though, and you can see there's just such little visibility there. I don't think that gap really makes a big difference. Saw was thinking about rotating down the vents, but he's come back up, and with 24 seconds, ESPADA have really got to get a move on here. Oh, sLowi's caught jumping up to the B site, and that could be a real problem. The nade from NaToSaphiX lands as well. A 3v2 advantage for ESPADA, but where's the bomb? It's taking so much time to get down to B. There's a gap in the smoke. Oh, ZOREE comes so close, but the bomb will be planted safely, and ZOREE just gets his face ripped off. NaToSaphiX doing good work in this one. And Hoodie, well, he either has to go for it or just try and save. Oh, and he shot his teammate's dead body as well. That's not the start he needed.
Oh, okay, he's only going to get one. And yeah, you mentioned a save. It might have been worthwhile. ESPADA now going to hit 17, but we have seen some of these rounds go a little bit close for HAVU. A Nova going to be invested into, not the prime time gun, not something you really want to ever be seeing, and let alone seeing it in overtime. There's going to be a couple of SMGs, a 1 M4 for Doto, and I'll have to wait and see what else is going to be coming up. It's not particularly pretty, that's for sure. But sometimes teams do manage to make these sort of rounds work, maybe a little bit audacious with some of their plays, and it's looking like that might be the case. They've gone heavy onto this A site with the shotguns. Doto going to be lurking around, and I believe it might be sLowi just holding onto the ramp. Other than that, it is just a relatively A-site defense, and well, for the T's, as long as they manage to basically just play up to the level they have been, they should be getting all 3 T-side rounds.
Smoke's being prepared by ESPADA. Should be the exact same lineups as previously, and this time without an AWP for the CTs. I doubt they're going to be denying this too heavily. ESPADA taking their time to move off the back of those smokes. I'm not sure they're actually going to go down secret, considering how slow they're being so far. Looks like they're more likely to try and wrap into A, where Dima has already found them some early success. First fight won, but Doto gets one in reply, and Doto doubles down. That's the rifle dropped, though, and that is not what HAVU needed. The aggression works for Hoodie, though. He gets one with the Mag 7. And oh dear, that flashbang's bounced all the way back. But it's a 3v2 for HAVU. Definitely a round that's winnable. Degster spamming away. Could be in trouble. Saw gets him from behind. And NaToSaphiX also caught in the back. So HAVU do it with the weaker weapons. They win at least the one round on that CT side to keep themselves in it.
Yeah, it's quite a common thing, and it's always so frustrating. I think a lot of teams play far more aggressively when they know that they have a big disadvantage. And even still, 17-16 scoreline, and realistically, if ESPADA can just fix some of the issues and get a couple of rounds, they are going to be eliminating HAVU from the tournament. We'll just have to wait and see. There's going to be The AUG once again up for Patsi. He's not had the best of games, but was able to do some decent work fighting for outside. degster on his AWP as well could be one of the crucial factors. I do wonder if HAVU are going to try and just be as aggressive as they were on the upper bomb site. That was one of their main successes on their first half. You can see already a fair amount of counter utility being expended. Flashbangs, incendiaries coming out just to try and deny that early push. sLowi already waiting. It is looking like they might be going for something similar once again. But for now, at least, we're just going to be watching as they do slowly probe on different portions of the map, but ultimately haven't made a play just yet.
Ooh, wallbang from sLowi. Technically, ZOREE gets a flash assist on that, but I don't think the flashbang had much to do with it. It was a shot through the wall that sLowi ends up landing, and oh dear, degster's missed that shot, but he's somehow got away with it. Both players taking some damage at yards. degster's still trapped behind the red container, though, which is not the ideal position to be in. He might be able to land some shots, though. How are they not ready for him here? Oh, never mind. They are. Doto lands the shot, as does ZOREE, and it's all gone perfectly for HAVU at the start of this round. Even if they've taken damage, they've won all the fights so far.
Yeah, and this is a round where realistically the remaining couple of players shouldn't be over-facing. Just try and keep that extra weaponry through, as financially it can get quite awkward. Just everybody missing their shots in this round. This has been from such a fantastic comeback from ESPADA. The second they get back onto their CT side, it's like they unplug their mice or maybe turn them off if they're wireless. Because every single person, I think, in the fights that they took, except maybe the guy who was spammed through the wall, just missed.
And this is the exact sort of position where it is worth saving in this sort of overtime. With the 10k starting money, you do need to be somewhat worried about your own cash. And 1v5 is highly unlikely. Basically impossible. So FinigaN saving is obviously the right decision. Yeah, I think with the way the economy works in overtime, 10k is probably a bit too little. I think if you want the economy to have an impact, you'd have to make it a little bit higher, because it feels rough whenever teams have such a weak buy in that final one. Then again, HAVU did just make it work. And I think that's a good point, like you were saying earlier, is that it feels like team just play more freely and play with more risks when they have those lower buys. And I'm not sure why HAVU weren't going for that in some of their gun rounds earlier. We didn't really see any lobby aggression from them, which they could have gone for. I guess they were just hoping that their default would work for them, but never really happened. Either way, it is 17-17, all to play for in these last 2 rounds of this first overtime. And in come the smokes towards yard from HAVU, but there are players on the CT side looking to fight this.
Oh, is degster really going to make a play through it? It seems like such a risk if he would.
Patsi's up on red. Oh dear, he's not anymore.
Yeah, it seems like that is all they really have at the moment. And while Sour's just absolutely decapitated them, it looked like we might be about to have HAVU fixing things here. Dima is only going to be good for 1, and FinigaN still just hoping that somebody's going to push through the door, but the fact is they are all towards the B site, at least for now. However, sophiX still being here, they might actually rotate through the vent. It would need to be a miracle. This is an angle they never seem to check. Every single time FinigaN's here, but he can't quite get things over the line, and sophiX now, again, just going to have to save that weapon to at least give them a chance into the next.
Yeah, I think ESPADA tried to switch up their outside hold, but it's always a really big risk jumping up on top of red like Patsi did there. There could always just be a player on top of silo that just spots you and just kills you outright, but you're so exposed when you jump on top of the red container that you can be caught early. And I think teams are starting to catch on to that. CTs like to do that occasionally, where they try and jump up on red to catch you in the back. And then degster took such a massive risk pushing through. sophiX trying this. Oh, he hasn't got time. He was thinking about the ninja defuse, but instead it costs him his AK. He's unable to save it. And now ESPADA's buy into what could be the last round of this game is limited, although degster can still pick up an AWP, which I assume we'll see. And I'd really like to see degster try and make a play with it here. We saw a previous round for HAVU where one of the players was able to push through. I think it was ZOREE who pushed through ramp and got an opening pick. I wouldn't mind seeing degster do the same here, or I wouldn't mind some aggression in general from ESPADA. The buy's not that bad in terms of rifles, but it's still one where I think they could get away with some aggression. It is HAVU's chance to try and take us to a third map, though. Let's see if they can pull it off. Patsi holding yard early, but the flashbang denies him vision. Dexter's landed a shot, though, as has Patsi. ESPADA getting 2 kills early into this one, and it's looking like a second overtime may be on the cards.
Yeah, no, it's almost looking likely at this point. sLowi, though, was always so impactful from these sort of positions. Didn't quite have the CT side he would have been hoping for, but maybe he can help them drag this through on the T side. A lot of space gathered, and realistically, can they utilize it? The fact is the CT side don't really have any presence on this side of the map, which, considering they're in a 5v3, is quite surprising. Maybe just looking to try and retake this one, as Saw is going to look to get aggressive elsewhere. Door's going to be open down below, but he could be in the prime position to try and deny the rotations. It's just whether or not they actually decide to go from this angle. Nothing being spotted, and they're definitely wary because Dima was very quick to rotate in a lot of these rounds. sLowi actually taking a little bit of team damage there, but not anything to really write home about, as they're desperately trying to clear these remaining angles. They have absolutely no idea where these remaining players are. sophic will already take down Saw, and just this stack towards the A site has left the remaining players confused. degster runs all the way down, though, without actually checking anything. Doto looks to go back. I'm so confused with the decision-making that's coming in here, and they've lost the round. It's over. It doesn't matter what sLowi does from this point onwards. I think they thought that they baited a rotation, even though they got a kill on that site. That is a weird, weird round for HAVU.
Like, sLowi had basically moved all the way through B to begin with there. So you've got to think that B is the weakest side of the map. sLowi was going down to B to try and help. It must have just been miscommunication for HAVU at that point. Maybe the nerves got to them, who knows, but it is a second overtime which will be played between these two teams, neither side giving up without a fight. And to give credit to HAVU, sometimes when you get into these overtime games, that's where you do start to just basically have a war of attrition, where it's more endurance than anything. It's more just making sure you don't make mistakes like that, which can be pretty hard to do when you've had to focus so hard for so long in this game. Either way, though, HAVU are going to have to cut down on some of those mistakes if they want to win this map here. And look at this switch up. They're angry after losing that last one. They're going fast down to the B site. Saw will be moving in first. The rest of the players alongside him, and Dima's only able to get one before he's traded. So this is going to be a bomb plant unless Patsi can deny. How has he not got this kill? Oh my god, that is awful. Saw finally falls at the hands of sophic, and the trades just keep on coming. It's hard to keep track, Tom, but it's a 2v2 for now.
Doto low on health, and degster making the decision to switch up to an AK-47 over his AWP. Of course, it seems like the CT side rounds are the more valuable for either side at the moment. ZOREE is going to make the rotation through the ramp. Now the bomb's dropped in a bit of an awkward position for them to try and retrieve. The smoke being down. This peak going to be coming through. It's the realization from sophic, and now Doto left. 2 HP, 2 players to find. sophic having a standout round, but he is removed, and the position of degster seems to be unknown.
Ooh, and nades from Doto aren't good enough. degster was holding the angle. Got to give props to sophic as well, who I feel has really stepped it up in overtime with a bunch of these multi-kills. I think sophic had maybe 10 kills or something ridiculous like that at the end of regulation, but he's up to 18 now. Here's another triple kill for him where Patsi couldn't finish the job, but sophic certainly could. And we get the SG out for ZOREE. That was something he was buying yesterday. Now that he's not got as much money into the second round of the overtime, he's gone for the Krieg again. Early Molotovs and flashes being exchanged. sophic taking some damage in this position. But he will be safe for now. Ooh, this must be a one-way smoke for Dima. He's having a look over the top of it, but HAVU have got no one here to fight him. At least not yet. sLowi looking into hut where degster lands the shot at close range. Good work from degster. It seems like he's very successful at going for those hut picks. He hasn't gone for it too often, but when he has, he's generally got his team some early frags. And oh, that Molotov missed from Saw. It just bounced back, so it won't go into the A-bomb site. Thankfully for HAVU, though, they won't be moving into A. They're looking at ramp room where hoody is trying to see if he can just wait this one out, trying to see if someone will peek into his position, and HAVU really need to get one of those kills back here. They're down in a 3v5.
Quite a bit of sound being made. FinigaN flashed off the angle, is going to go for a peek. Doesn't really need to be fighting this. They've already got the advantage. He can just try and bait them into the site. Dima's going to find hoody elsewhere and leave it down to just two. The bomb this time won't be allowed to go down the vent, and ESPADA take two on their CT side. Of course, it's not quite a big financial deficit for them here, as they will be able to get a purchase anyway. But even still, if ESPADA can get the third round, that would be pretty good considering how good their T-sides have been.
I'm curious to see how this SG performs on the CT side for ESPADA that they saved over. Because I'm sure there are some players that just haven't practiced with the new SG whatsoever, and the spray is a bit weirder now because the rate of fire is so slow. But if you just hold an angle with the scope at a headshot height, you can probably get some good success with it. FinigaN is playing on the A side of the map with that SG right now, but it's ESPADA who are going to have to deal with some early aggression. Great flashbang, allows Saw the entry. FinigaN from the site gets two with the SG before he's traded, but Patsy's down the vents, and it's a 2v3 for ESPADA to overcome. Oh, good shot from sLowi and a good round from HAVU. Again, they get one round at the end of the half. They remain on the back foot, but at least they keep themselves somewhat close. 2019, Tom. We're living in the past.
Yeah, not for long.
No. Oh, there we go. It's still 2019. Nice. I thought it was going to switch round. Double up setup for HAVU. We haven't seen that too much here.
Yeah, I guess after really struggling. The thing that surprises me about that, though, is most of the plays we've seen have been really aggressive A takes. So I don't really know how a double up setup is going to help them, unless, of course, ESPADA decide that they want to switch things up. But if I'm being honest, I really hope they don't, because that's been some of the best rounds we've seen from them, are just faster plays. Again, we're actually going to see a quick attempted push on outside, and there's not really anything they can do about it. Dima still looking to try and probe in, but as of right now, just left behind the smoke.
Flash there from sotfic on the left side of your screen in the picture-in-picture. Tried to take a fight, but he's now backing away. So look back at doto in the center of your screen, because he's about to take some fights on the A site. Defensive smoke deployed by doto, as well as a flashbang. He's really slowing ESPADA down here. He's allowing the rotates to come through, but it's not going to matter. Oh, Patsi pushes through the smoke as well to add insult to injury. And, well, the rotations were starting to come in from HAVU. I think doto did a decent job at buying time. It's just that ESPADA were ready for the rotations. They land those headshots quickly, and ZOREE is stuck trying to save the AWP. I don't know how much damage he'd take from the bomb here.
I think it's far enough back that he should be okay. It's more of just a surprise position. I think he's hoping that they all go running past and maybe he gets a kill, but realistically, it is just all about saving that AWP, because we are now going to be seeing map and series point for the first time. ESPADA are in with a chance to completely close this one out. Of course, 22 is going to be our magic number, and what you were talking about being in the past, now we've hit the future.
Yeah, I'm not going to be alive in 2119, that's for sure.
You never
well,
know.
yeah, who knows? We could invent stuff. We're pretty good at that. That single AWP continues for ZOREE. No double AWP allowed this time around. At least he gets to save the one sniper, though. ESPADA only need one more round to knock HAVU out of this tournament. Can be difficult to keep track, so we've got to keep an eye on these rounds as they rack up in overtime. Oh, ZOREE lands that shot, but he takes some damage in reply. No kills, but a lot of damage going either way right now as ESPADA look for this A play, but Saw just spots FinigaN on the edge of the smoke. ZOREE now dropping down the vents. It's HAVU who have the man advantage early, though, and that's the main thing that matters.
Oh, sLowi's actually going to be caught, though. And that's not only going to net them a kill, but quite a bit of space, as they could be able to make their way down the ramp. Dima's just going to be waiting patiently. And ZOREE's actually rotated all the way in. This is a pretty good position to hold, but it's whether or not it will actually come into play, as ESPADA have been more than dedicated to facing off into this A site, and with little to no information, they are going to go pushing in. Hoody up above, Saw within the site. They're actually going to look for the spot, but they haven't seen anybody. It's that corner position. The same one was used. It's going to be checked. Saw, though, with a good chance here. He sprays down 2. He keeps this one alive as he leaves it now all onto Dima. So low on HP. He doesn't really stand a chance in this round. Saw has stepped up exactly when they needed him. 28 kills and only one more attempt for ESPADA to take this through.
Yeah, that defensive smoke that HAVU are just dropping onto the site is really causing issues for ESPADA when they try and push in. This time, though, Saw just steps up, and there's that smoke that just makes life difficult for ESPADA to really push from both sides. It makes it difficult for them to have the trade from both angles. So he can lock down the hut position without having to worry too much about his flank. And now there is one round in it. Both teams will be wanting this last round, but it's ESPADA who are upping the pace. The fast A play could be what closes it out for them. Hoody in from above gets 2 kills, and okay, that is a complete shutdown. That's more like what we want to see from these A-site holds. It looks like HAVU will take us to a 3rd overtime here, as degster has got to be the hero, and he will not be able to step up to the plate this time round. 21-21. And Nuke is still going strong. Both these teams clearly loving it. They want to play more.
Yeah, our goal is now going to be the big 25.
Jeez, 40 for Hoody.
Yeah, he's been playing out of his mind. There's been a few players who've been a little bit quieter than we normally would have expected, mainly ZOREE being the one that we look at. Still the odds favouring Unicorn, but it's understandable why they have slipped back into a much closer position. We'll see whether or not HAVU can maybe even things up. If they do take this map over the line, I think they'd have to be the favoured going into the 3rd, but I'm sure both teams are probably feeling pretty fatigued at this point. I do wonder if we'll see ESPADA actually go back to at least fighting for the B site a little bit. These A site plays were working very well in the initial stages, but a step up from Saw has made things a bit tougher. I think we've seen a lot more early round presence here for the side of HAVU. Saw not seeing anything, just starting to spam a few shots. Got some utility prepared. Smoke going to be thrown out as the pressure comes in. They don't check this corner, though. It's a play that's been used so many times. The spam through doesn't quite manage to kill off one, but Patsi has found a kill elsewhere. And they're still trying to get the kill through the wall, which has come pretty damn close. ZOREE, though, from above is going to make things nigh on impossible, as only 2 players remain, Patsi and degster, to try and turn this back. The youngsters of the squad, just 16 and 18 years old. Saw surviving on just 2 HP. An extra kill here could make all the difference. And in fact, they're going to go pushing in. I don't see a way that Patsi can get onto this cross. Already, though, looking for the pick. He actually looks back as well. That's one. degster has found another one, but the pick from ZOREE is fast enough. He's waiting for sLowi. He knows exactly where he is, expecting maybe the other player to be pushing at the same time. They're trying to get himself on top of the hut to get a better angle. The fact is, though, this shouldn't be possible. However, he's hit that initial shot, just looking to see the aggression coming out of sLowi, and he gets that kill as well. Just going to try and fall back around. Smoke in play as he fakes the plant. ZOREE doesn't quite push, and now he should know that this is being planted, but it's actually a second fake that he thought. Patsi's going to win it out. 4 kills for the 16-year-old, making him look like he's got the experience of someone who's been in the scene for 10 years. In fact, 10 years ago, he would have just been 6.
The young guns of ESPADA win a round they had no right of having a chance in. Oh, man, HAVU have got to be kicking themselves after that one. But I don't know if they have any timeouts left. I don't know if they want to use timeouts at this point with how long this map has been going on. They're just playing it out. ZOREE investing all his money. HAVU's cash basically fully invested into this one. And that round from ESPADA could be a difference in this game. again, they're still going back to these A-sided plays. I'm really surprised that ESPADA have been so one-note here in their A plays. They're currently focused on the A site, and you've got to think after last round, they must realize that's probably not repeatable with what degster and Patsi just did. Oh, a nice friendly bomb on the side of your screen. Pretty sure that's a trap.
Well, already. We are going to see the pressure looking to be put onto sLowi. He has had a bit of a rough game. Again, it's just going to be the run through. Dima's gone full suicidal. I'm not sure how that smoke has gone that wrong. Patsi does sneak his way through. This could make things interesting. I think ZOREE has expected it, though, as they look to put the pressure onto him. He gets the kill onto hoody, but still, there's only going to be a man on the site that they need to clear, and sLowi's found the perfect timing. degster now left alone. Looking to try and do some damage, but he won't be able to. Back and forth we go as we hit the 22. 44 rounds played. Just waiting to see who's going to break the deadlock.
Yeah, this game is teetering on a seesaw. You'd think that ZOREE might be good at that, but it's been both teams a winning round so far. ZOREE taking a second to leave spawn before he finally gets underway into this one. As Tom so kindly pointed out earlier, it is first to 25 that would be the victors right now. I think at this point we're going to have to keep reiterating that because the maths gets confusing. I mean, really, you just add on 4 each time, but hey, some people can't figure it out. Especially people who've just tuned in. We've got to give them the props. Doto, though, gets the first kill for HAVU. This could be a much-needed round for them on this CT side. I think if HAVU could win 2 on the CT side, they'd actually really be liking their chances because both teams have been pretty good on their T-halves so far. ESPADA slowing things down after losing that first fight, but Doto's playing close. This crossfire could be deadly if ESPADA were to push this position, but it's sLowi who will be tested on his ramp hold.
A Molotov might actually allow them to cross, though. I don't think it's gone quite as deep as he would have liked it to. And it's just going to have to use his utility to try and get him out of there. ZOREE already finding another. It is looking like a 23rd round is on the cards for HAVU unless something goes severely wrong. sLowi in a perfect position, but he whiffs his shots. That might be the moment that gives them some space back in. Even still, it'll be a disadvantage, and the timing for ZOREE could be perfect. He's going to wait for his teammate and take the fight together. It's left all onto FinigaN, and he's not quite quick enough to kill off ZOREE. It will be a 23rd for HAVU, and now they just need to get 2 more on their T side, and they will be closing this one out.
And they would be taking us to a 3rd map if they can do it, Tom. I think both these teams would probably need a break after how long this one's been already. ESPADA, though, not going to be giving up on Nuke with how close this game has been. Again, we get another glance at the scoreboard. FinigaN up there for them. I mean, he's up there on score. I guess he's been planting the bomb a lot because there are other players who are out fragging him. degster and Dima up there. Again, NaToSaphiX continued to perform better in overtime, which was a problem for them in regulation. So hopefully that can continue as we head into the second half of the 3rd overtime here. We saw HAVU going for double AWP setups earlier. ESPADA having none of that, though. They're just sticking with degster on the AWP. Meanwhile, HAVU not picking up a single sniper on this first T-side round. That might suggest they want to go for a fast play. If you were going for a fast A play, you definitely wouldn't want the AWP. So we'll keep an eye on that for HAVU, but it looks like they're just spreading out into a default early. So nothing too crazy being brought out by the Finns in this first T-side round for them in this 3rd OT.
Good flashbang, and already that will be Doto hitting the deck, an attempted push on outside, but he was alone. Again, sLowi's going to be in a decent position. They like to utilize the smoke outside, but actually Patsi maybe looking to try and equalize things here. However, NaToSaphiX going to go down. I think it is the CT side where he had the majority of his struggles. I'm not even sure if it's worth playing on top of the hut anymore. It's become such a predictable angle, and Patsi, this is a fight not worth taking. Already tagged low. Smoke is going to be going down, and by the looks of it, we might see them go into the vent or attempt it. Some damage has been done, but half the team seem to be a little bit stuck. They will have been heard. We're planning on Molotoving it out. Now Dima needs at least a kill and he gets nothing. He could have just played the passive position instead. He tried to be the hero and he has been the sacrificial lamb that could cost them this entire map. A two-man advantage has diminished now into them having a man less than their opponent. sLowi is the main reason for that with 2 kills to his name. ZOREE also up on this aggressive spot we've seen used so many times throughout this map so far. And with not a lot of time, they really do need to get moving. He's just going to sit passively, try and deny them any further presence. It is looking like a 24th round is almost guaranteed as FinigaN just doesn't have the time. Removing weaponry at this point is almost worthless, and a hoody headshot will give them a 24th. HAVU edging ever closer to closing out their map and taking us to a third. And while the CT side have got to try and play for a third OT. 4th OT.
Yeah. It is hard to keep track at this point, but it is HAVU, like you said, who have 2 map points. Again, sticking with just the AKs, which was successful for them in that last one. hoody has still been fragging at a surprisingly effective rate. 44 kills in, I don't even want to add up how many rounds have been played. 46 rounds played. So almost averaging 1 kill per round in a game that goes so long is really impressive. sLowi's making this same play again, and he should be able to get down the vent safely. HAVU have also got players down elsewhere, but the bomb was dropped for a second. Thankfully, Doto can go back for it. ESPADA now need to be aware of this B-sided play being a possibility. sLowi's gone down the vents. They've got players down secret as well. And Dima is the man rotated down to B. He's generally been pretty good on these holds so far, though. At least back in regulation, he was. Let's see if he can remember how to do it in overtime.
Yeah, last few, I feel like he's been more of a liability, either getting 1 kill or instantly falling without anything. He wants to at least keep the man advantage, but realistically, it should be an attempt to get a little bit more. NaToSaphiX has found another, so we're in the same spot again and again. Dima just gets wrecked. Luckily, his teammates seem to be doing the work. ZOREE in a decent position, though. He's going to try and sneak his way through the edge of the smoke, but he's got to be more careful as there's another player above, and NaToSaphiX once again leaves it on to just sLowi. A 1 versus 3, looking to try and get the bomb plant. He's just going to stick it, but there's players coming in from all angles. There's nowhere for him to go, and we will have a 24 to 23. Still 1 more chance for HAVU to close out their map pick. Otherwise, this one might go all night.
Feels like a possibility at this point, Tom. A very real possibility with how this game's been going. Again, though, HAVU have to just put that behind them and focus on the round at hand. 1 round required for them to take victory and to take us to Dust 2, which would be the decider map if required. Or will be picked up by degster. It remains a full buy for both sides into round number whatever the hell it is at this point. I'm not going to count. Molotov down from FinigaN, who is playing up on A. Some early nades deployed by HAVU, and they're lining up some further pieces of utility. I'm not sure if they're going to fully commit to the A site, though. They've got Saw at main, so maybe they will when he gets into position. That would give them another angle of attack. There is some early CT utility, which I think should slow HAVU down, though. And now if Saw wants to move in, degster's AWP is in a pretty good position to deal with him. So I think any early idea of an A split from HAVU has been slowed down for the time being. sLowi gets down vents again, though. That's been a constant problem for ESPADA, and Dima has to try and lock down ramp, but he's just got to back away from it. He can't hold this position.
Battle for outside could be a crucial one. Saw needing this kill, and he's not going to get it. Same for Dima, though. As said, he's had no impact, and again, this man just can't do anything in overtime. It is a problem. If he's the only defender of the B site, he has to be getting something done. Patsi at least in with a quick rotation, but he almost walks around the corner not looking. Still manages to give them a man advantage. And of course, this is for the map. To stay in it, ESPADA have to win. We are going to see a decent crossfire setup. This is going to be a tough one for the CTs to break down. sLowi even coming in on a flank could be everything. The Molotov into the corner should get them 1, but there's 2 back in return. Make that 3 as FinigaN is now the only one left. He knows where one of them is. The first kill goes his way, but I don't see a way of him defusing this bomb, just trying to use the flashbangs to his advantage, but it isn't going to happen. It's taken a long, long time, But finally, this map is done. It's going to be HAVU taking it through to a third and final map, which I believe will be Dust 2.
Yes, Dust 2 is the third map. We weren't sure if we were going to need it after so many overtimes, but HAVU eventually closed it out. I think when a game goes that long, it's hard to break down much when you get into overtime because it is just a war of attrition at that point. But like you said, a lot of rounds where Dima did just struggle to hold the B site. That felt like the big difference at the end there for HAVU. They were able to get down onto B in so many rounds. And even though that retake looked possible, it was a position where you feel like they could be in a better spot to begin with. And unfortunately for them, they're going to have to play on Dust 2.
Yeah, I think there were a few players that definitely became a liability in a few of those rounds. Like, although sophic had a good comeback in overtime, in the initial stages, he was pretty weak, like, especially around the heart. I think that was a problem because so many of the T rounds came from vent dives and just being able to take control that you wouldn't really be able to do. So, yeah, I think it is going to be a tough one. I do question if we are able to just throw it into the replays as a break so that we can go get some food and stuff. I'm wondering if our producer can answer that question. Can we roll the replays and then it will go straight into a break? Okay. I think we're going to be going to some highlights.
Nice. That sounds good to me.
I'm not sure what I heard there. He might have just said we don't have any highlights. And if that's the case, I am wondering, can we go to a break?
Yes, we can. We're going to a break, Tom. We'll be right back with Dust 2 after this.